Greetings, guys. It's Fancy, and today for CEO Chatter Live, I'm actually having to come to you all from my car, but we'll still be moving forward with our interview with our guest, Krystle Pierre. And I see actually that she just came in, so let me go ahead on and bring her in. Thanks you all for tuning in as well. And we'll give her a second to come on in. In the meantime, oh, well, there you are. Greetings.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry to be doing this from my car today. This was not expected, but I did not want to reschedule with you. So thank you for being here with us.
You're welcome and nice to meet you. Thanks for having
Likewise,
me.
not a problem. So, first, I like to first always start with letting our guests say who they are. I think that you can describe yourself best. So, well, first, I always ask as well, how would you describe your swagger? And you can also go into your intro there. So, how would you
Okay.
describe your swagger? What makes Krystle Krystle?
What makes me me is I'm always myself. I don't mind trying different things. I'm very creative when it comes to my business and I stay in my lane and I do me. So to go into who Kalexis is, so my name is Krystle Pierre. I am the creative director and CEO at Kalexis. I started my business in 2016. We've been in business for 5 years now, and my clothing brand is all about women and making women look good and feel good and be confident in the skin that they're in. And so here we are today. I'm excited to do this live with you and just to share my story and let everybody know more about Kalexis.
Okay. And so now you started out as a lab technician and then you started your boutique. What was that transition like, and why a boutique? Did you always have an interest in fashion?
Okay, so I've always been into fashion growing up. I always like to dress and look good. I've always been into fashion. But as far as thinking I would ever own a boutique, I never in a million years thought I would be running a clothing brand, a booming clothing brand right now. And so what happened was I would, shop online a lot before the online boutiques became like a thing, like it is now on social media. And so I
Mm-hmm.
would shop online all the time, and I would get items in, and quality wouldn't be good. And so one time I ordered something and item came in, quality was horrible, and I kind of made a joke and was like, I could probably do this myself. And when I really gave it some thought, I was like, you know what, I am going to do it. I'm going to do it, and I'm just going to go in and just see what happens. And that's exactly what I did. I went in with no expectations, and turned out, this was my calling. So yeah, I actually worked a 9 to 5 job. I was a chemical lab technician at a chemical company, and I had been there for about almost 10 years. And you know what they say, when God wants you to grow, He makes you uncomfortable. And so at that point, this was in 2018. I had been in business for 3 years, working out of my home as a single mom, and basically just everything just started going wrong on the job. Nothing was, it was always something. And so eventually something happened, and I got really upset. And I remember calling my sister on the phone after I got called in the office. And I had been praying to God for like 6 months straight, asking Him, God, if this is for me, give me a sign. Hadn't got the sign yet. And so in December, when that situation happened, I was called in the office by my boss. And when I walked out of there, I called my sister on the phone crying. I had been there almost 10 years, had never cried, was always, like a top employee, always, excelled. And at that moment, I knew it was God telling me it was time to go. And so I literally, at that time, that was in December 2018, I started, getting myself together because I knew I was going to plan my exit. And so I left in February 2019. I gave like a 2 or 3 day notice, left, resigned. A week later, I hopped on a plane, went to Vegas with some business friends. I came back a week later, and 3 months after that, I had made my salary for the year. And so, you know, it was just my time.
Wow. Yeah. And that's so true. I like that message that you gave there. Like when God wants you to move, then He'll make that happen. And so it's really interesting how things turned out for you. So would you say, like, were there any skills at your, that you had as a lab technician that you transferred over that helped you with Kalexis?
Yeah, Kalexis. Yeah, absolutely. I think just working in the chemical industry for almost 10 years, I definitely learned how to deal with people, how to solve problems, and just how to really do your best when it comes to what you're passionate about or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And basically, I took that same mindset and applied it to my business. I knew I didn't want to just be regular. I wanted to be, just different, and really stand out. And so I took that same mindset and I put that into my business, and I went really hard for Kalexis, and just I kept going, and I kept getting better.
And actually, that was one of my questions because, of course, I mean, that there are a lot of boutiques, and I know that it has to be kind of difficult to ensure that you do stand out. So, like, what do you think makes Kalexis? Am I saying it correctly? Kalexis?
Yeah,
Okay. That makes Kalexis different.
what makes me different is I tend to always take what I do and I'm going to go left field and I'm going to make it different.
Am I freezing up, y'all, or is? Hello? Can you guys still hear me? My phone is steadily going off. Oh, okay, we lost her for a second. She's probably gonna come back on. Um, okay, because I know my phone was steadily ringing the whole time, and she was giving us some good information. And I really want to hear that. Okay, thank you all for letting me know. She should be back in just a minute. Um, okay, okay, there she is. Thank y'all for staying on. Y'all must be some Kalexis shoppers.
Yeah. Hey, Fancy, I'm back. I didn't know if it was my phone or if it was yours. But
It's
basically that's
mine.
what's
I
up.
have a call that's being persistent, but you
Okay.
can continue on.
Okay.
Can
And
you start over with that response though?
what were we talking about just again? Because I know I was kind of going in really hard.
We were talking about like what makes Kalexis different.
Oh yeah. Okay. Thanks for the reminder. For me, I've always been really big on creativity, and even when I first started my business, once I figure out what I needed to do to make myself stand out, I would do little things, and it didn't matter if people didn't really understand it. I did things that I knew would make me stand out. And I think that's
Mm.
very important when you have a business. You may have a million people, a lot of people that's doing the same thing that you're doing, and it's cool, but you need to make yours different in order to stand out from the pack. And I've always been very big on creativity. When everybody's going right, I'm going to go left. I tend to not try to keep up with everything that's going on around me. I try to set my own wave. And so I think that's very important when you have a business, especially on social media, to make your business stand out.
Yeah, and social media does definitely play a part in our successes. So you've been able, like, I see that you must have done a really great job on social media because now you have over 100,000 followers. Well, at least 100,000 that I've noticed. Um, what do you think has been like a part? I know you said that you try to do things different, but if there was one thing that you said that you would say that you did implement that worked, what would that be?
I would say I showed up as myself, and I was very consistent throughout the entire time. I've built my platform very organically. I've been very transparent with my audience, and so a lot of things I would share with them that may be personal or just things along the way that I would share with my audience, just so that they can have a connection to me, a connection to Kalexis. And so I would say for me, I showed up as myself, And I've been very consistent over the past 5 years. And I think anyone that's been following me from the very beginning, they can definitely say that's facts.
Cool. So what would you say has been like, if there was, we all have obstacles and challenges that we face throughout business, but what would you say has been, a challenge, or can you give us a challenge that you've had to overcome?
I think for me, it was just having the information. When I first started my business, I went in blind, not knowing anything. I really had no idea what I was signing up for. But I would say one of the biggest crucial things that I felt like I didn't have is information. And it sometimes it takes time to get that information. You have to go through your trials. You have to take your losses sometimes to learn that. And when I first started, I didn't have like a mentor. I didn't have like the blueprint to how do you be a successful clothing brand owner. I didn't have all of that. I basically had to learn and figure it out along the way. And that's, I would say for me is having the information.
Yeah. And I agree, because I'm self-taught as well. And I realize, like, you don't even know what you don't know. And
And that's so true, Fancy. You
until like
really
you
don't
run
know what
across
you
a
don't know.
situation. Yeah. So yeah, that can really
You really
be a
don't.
challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, once you start getting information, once you start, making your connections and being able to get those resources, a lot of times you can start applying that to your business and you'll start seeing some change.
Right. And I think her phone is freezing up again. Let's
It so
give it a
sucks.
minute. These phones, so I'm also having we have our networking event coming up on November the 3rd. So I wanted to ask you, like, oh, I thought she had came back, but it seems like she hasn't. Okay. I'm trying to bring her back in. She did try to come back in. Let me see. Am I hitting this up? Okay. Thanks, guys, for your patience. Y'all know how technology can be. Because I'm trying to accept her, but I don't know what's going on now. So, for those who don't know, we were just talking with Krystle Pierre of Kalexis Couture. She owns a boutique, and it is located. Actually, I wanted to ask her about that because I want to say it's located here in Baton Rouge. I didn't realize she was also in Baton Rouge. Um, and she was just sharing how she went from being a lab tech to owning her boutique, which she's now had for 5 years. Trying to think of some other things that she was stating. We talked about how her creativity helped to sustain